Look, I'm going to change tack slightly here. We talk about copper. Most of the copper is next door, talking at the same time at the moment. But what I won't get up here and tell you is that we need $1 billion over 10 years. I'm going to present to you a much different value proposition in copper, and that involves high-grade open pit copper mining. So without ado, but look, we're not just copper, we've also got zinc, silver, indium resources as well into other projects. But what I will do is today is mostly just focus on Storm, which has been our focus in the last year or so. But look, we're a 3-asset company, Australia, in the US and Canada. That was by design. Having worked globally, you recognise that it's an easy global economy, it's easy to do business, and it's good to be close to existing infrastructure. That's the key. With all these projects, you see a lot of them, the trend is being close to in the existing mining areas, and that's significant. Like I said, I'll touch on Storm a little bit, or a lot more in this talk, but look, that's emerging to be a truly camp-scale global opportunity, mining opportunity in far north Canada. West Desert, just quickly, both our other assets in Utah, which is a fantastic mining jurisdiction, as you know. West Desert has significant existing resources of zinc, copper, silver and indium. In fact, it's the largest and the only indium deposit in the US, and it's the largest undeveloped indium deposit globally. And indium's used for touch screens and iPhones and things like that. It's an emerging technology, but it's very close to Bingham Canyon, and it's actually a skarn, traditional skarn deposit related to copper porphyry. Only 10% of that mineral system's been explored, but look, any of these, if you want more information on these afterwards, please come and see me. Copper Warrior is the other Utah asset. That's a traditional sedimentary hosted copper deposit. We're 15 kilometres from Utah's second largest copper mine. Again, location. It's a private operation that's run out of ore. We're actively exploring and drilling at this project at the moment. And interesting, while copper is our focus here, expect some interesting news on rare earths and also uranium, so at that project. So look, I'll touch on the highlights in the interest of time, but there's a couple of catalysts coming up for us as a company. We're very active explorers, very aggressive. You know, I think our shareholders like us spending money. I'd have to say that every metre we've drilled has added significant value to these projects. A couple of catalysts in the next couple of months is Storm has been seasonal to date. There's obviously a break during the Christmas and New Year period, but look, we're working very hard on our maiden mineral resource estimate at Storm, and quickly following that is a PEA. But then we'll be back up there in March, April this year with geophysics and more drilling. So very short period there, hiatus, but in the off season we're still progressing West Desert and Copper Warrior as well in the background. And look, we'll have Copper Warrior drilling results out in the next few weeks as well. Quick, and I'll touch on the corporate stuff very quickly in the interest of time and lunch. But look, we're well capitalised as an exploration development company, $7 million still in the bank. That'll see us well into next year. Relatively modest market capitalisation, so lots of potential to grow. You know, I guess the key here is that the board and management holds a significant position here. Our largest shareholder is Commodity Discovery Funds out of Amsterdam, and then myself and the chairman own the other. That's the top 17% of the company. Again, just quickly on this, we've got a very strong team with deep exploration success and discovery success globally. Ex-BHP Billiton, ex-Western Areas, Western Mining and Newmont, and a team of mine builders, a team of discoverers, and you know, we're certainly well placed to move these projects forward. So Storm, this is what it looks like. Now I'm slightly north of where our Forum and our other companies have been in Canada, but this is none of it. This is the existing mining district, which I'll talk to. But as you can see here, in terms of the environmental impact and actually access to the ground, there's nothing there. So there's no grass, there's no trees, and I can tell you in winter we get 1 metre of snow. So this is in the Arctic desert, which, as you can imagine, facilitates on-ground exploration, development, etc., etc. So very easy to do work here. We're on the coast. We are on an access shipping route all year, well, 4 months of the year, which is the only logistical constraint, but we're in an active mining district that has had two very long-lived mines, Polaris, one of Teck Cominco's most profitable mines when it was operating, Civic. Just off the map here is Mary River, which is a currently operating iron ore mine, and we have Medellin, Sabina, and MMG just to the south of us. So it is a historical mining district. So a lot of ASX people didn't understand how you operate up here and whether you could operate up here, but this is a historical mining district that has been active for 30 or 40 years. So very well located. We're on the coast. Everything comes in via ship and goes out via ship. So what that means is there's no coastal infrastructure required. They barge it onto the beach and concentrate can go off. Very low impact, very low capital requirements here. And they've been doing this for years. This is the way they move material in the north. Somerset Island is completely uninhabited. Our closest community is Resolute, which is to the north. And they live there all year round, 24/7 obviously, and mining here is 365 days of the year. We own 100% of the prospective land package here, which is over 2,000 square kilometres. So there's no ability for someone else to come in and get into this. Only 5% of these projects being explored, and which I'll talk to. And we've got copper and zinc anomalies approximately 50 kilometres south of Storm with outcropping massive copper and zinc sulfides yet to be drilled. So this is what Storm is. So it's a cluster of deposits. This is an emerging copper open pit mining opportunity. So you can see the scale there, the 4100 zone. The resources will contain 4 of these deposits. What will not be in the maiden resource will be Thunder, which was a discovery this year. You can see the grades here. Lightning Ridge, and also the northern part of 4100. So any maiden resource that we put out is going to grow significantly. Now you can see these kind of grades. This is open pit mining. This is traditionally underground mining grades. And so what that means is that this is going to be very, very high margin opportunity. That's what it looks like. Very simple. Remember that photo because it goes into the way that we process this, but it's very simple and it can be mechanically broken down. So no flotation, no processing plant required. That is 65%, that's bornite, copper, and then we have waste, which is dolomite. Most of the ore here is chalcocite, which is 80% copper. But the open pit opportunity is not where it ends. In fact, that's where it begins. You can see this is a direct scale comparison between Mateo and Botswana. Sandfire Resources, an Australian company, $3 billion capital market cap. You can see the 4100 zone is very quickly approaching that kind of scale with a better strip ratio. That's $1 billion asset. That's 40 million tonnes at 0.9% copper. So you can see very quickly Storm is actually approaching that kind of scale, particularly in a visual sense. But we drilled 4 holes this year at depth, chasing some gravity anomalies, and every single 4 of those 4 holes hit copper sulfide, including up to 2.7% copper in this hole to the left. So what we've identified is a parallel system at depth, completely unexplored. 4 out of 4 exploration holes hit copper. I'd like to say that we're good explorers, but statistically speaking, that's almost impossible. So a lot lies beneath. This mineralisation is related to gravity anomalies, and unfortunately I don't have a laser, but you can see the blobs up there just to the northeast of the Storm prospect. They're related to copper mineralisation. We have a large gravity anomaly going 10 kilometres down the belt with copper sticking out of the ground all the way down there. So this is a very large system potential. And then if you remember, 50 kilometres to the south, we have 30% copper sticking out of the ground. So our story is one of development in the short term, but also expanding this exploration potential, which we think is world class. And so 2 distinct parallel. We don't want to be labelled as a developer immediately. You get the boring curve in terms of share price and market cap. We also want to have that speculative side of the story, which is this big picture copper story. So if you remember the ore, this is the penny drop moment for us, and the real value add for American West Metals is that given the simplicity of the ore, the purity of the ore, there's nothing in it. There's no arsenic, there's no cadmium, there's no deleterious. It's all just copper, sulfur, and a little bit of silver. We've managed to break it down to 10 to 25 mils. We put it through an ore sorter and generated a 60% copper product. Now that's actually probably too high for most smelters, so we're now working on dumbing that down to do a 25-30% copper, which means that we get access to a lot more of our ore body and the lower grades. And so, in terms of resource, what does that mean? Does that mean we don't have to focus on a 2 to 3% copper as an open pit? We can start in that 1% range and add significant volume of copper that way. So this is simple. And again, the billion-dollar question, this is about $20 to $25 million to set up max in terms of capital to get this going. So this is why this has the ability to be such a high-margin mine, low environmental footprint, very highly ESG credentialed. There's no tailings dam, there's no reagents, it's all mobile, there's no, all you have is a couple of shallow, I guess, like a road-based quarry. So this is the opportunity for us. You know, this is what we're pushing to. We're not obsessed with this. We've shown that it actually produces a very, very clean copper concentrate as well. But you know, this is the value for us moving forward, just getting this going. So, you know, that's Storm in a nutshell. Like I said, we are pushing hard. Look, the timeline's up here. We've already begun the environmental baseline study. That's underway. We have a weather station in play. We've already started the community engagement. And like I said, this is an uninhabited part of the world. And look, we're working with our partners at Ausenco to move the permitting forward here. So this is a 2 to 3 year permitting process. We're working towards the 2 year on their advice. So given how mobile this is, the low capital requirement, we think we could be mining here in 3 to 4 years, and probably on the 3 year side. So most mining projects these days are 6 to 10 years. This is a fantastic opportunity for us, both in the development and also exploration sense. So look, I won't touch on the other 2 projects. There's lunches. I don't have the time, and then lunches coming up. So thank you very much, and happy to take some questions.
Thank you. We do have time for a couple of questions if there are. I'd be interested to hear more about the ore sorting. What is that, like an X-ray sorter? Or?
Yeah, so we use this as full-scale Steiner sorter, and it uses X-ray, 3D laser, and optical. But we only needed to use the two systems. So as you know, these can be constrained by throughput. So we'd imagine if we had purely a high-grade scenario, we'd had 2 of these going to get 1 million to 1.5 million tonnes per annum. But what we've shown is that we can actually process a lot of the lower grade material, so that involves just simple beneficiation. So we'd probably potentially use ore sorting on the higher grade and then a beneficiation plant on the back end to do the fines. And that involves DMS, so using dense media separation. There's a 2 to 1 density ratio on the ore to waste. The beauty of this stuff is all dolomite, so it's self-buffering, so there's no acid potential issues, etc. And basically we're just moving a rock product. So beneficiation, that's a test work going on at the moment. Just dealing with those lower grades, we can recover more of the ore body. But I mean, that's in that $25 million capital. To set up an ore sorter, 2 in parallel is about 12 million. So, we're building Arctic costs into that, and the more complex beneficiation and processing as well.
I may have missed it, but the overall size of the resource to support that 1 million tonne per annum mining rate?
Yeah, so the maiden resource will come out shortly, and I can't tell you what the numbers is. I got the draft this morning, but our exploration target on what we know is about 30 to 50 million tonnes of copper of resources, but we know that'll expand down the belt as we grow it, and that's on the immediate Storm area, in 5 or 6 deposits. So it's already at a scale. This is a traditional sediment-hosted copper. It's not porphyry related. The closest analogues are, the Congo, Central Africa, Botswana, and places like that. Cooper Schiefer, just down the road here as well.
So just really quickly, with just a quick timeline of getting this into production, you mentioned that environmental studies are underway.
Yep.
So resource, environmental studies, and then after that, until production? Yeah,
so the resource, and obviously very shortly followed by a PEA, will then go to regulators. That will give us our initial mining footprint, etc. And that's where the 2 year timeline begins, which we begin the start of next year.
Okay, excellent. With that, I think we're about out of time. So off to lunch in the foyer. Dave, thanks very much for the presentation.
Thank you. Cheers.